45 doesn't believe in the law and order. I want to put this video out and hopefully it goes through before I go to work. Anyway, this weekend as violence and protest over the death of George Floyd shook the country, 45 called for law and order, and it says, "We support the overwhelming majority of police officers who are devoted public servants," said 45. Technically, he doesn't care about those people. "It is essential that we protect the crown jewel of American democracy, the rule of law, and our independent justice system." Yeah, you don't care about the rule of law anyway because you broke it so many damn times. That's the standard Republic cunt message, and there's a lot of truth to it. But 45 doesn't believe in the rule of law. His records show an ugly pattern. He supports cops when they target people of color, but he opposes cops when they target him and his so-called friends. In 1989, five black and Latino teenagers were arrested for horrific rape in New York. 45 responded with a full-page newspaper and demanded that they bring back the death penalty, bring back the police. 45 insisted that the teenagers were guilty even after they were exonerated. In 2012, he endorsed a police surveillance of American Muslims. In 2014, when then President Barack Obama spoke about the killing of Eric Gardner, 45 tweeted, "Obama now wants to deny due process to the police," which is not what he wanted. In 2015, when violence erupted over the death of Freddie Gray, 45 jeered, "Our great African-American president hasn't exactly had a positive impact on the thugs who are so happy and openly destroying Baltimore." Yeah, and 45, you haven't had a positive impact on anybody. As a squatter, 45 stayed on this theme. His inaugural address depicted an American carnage of crime and gangs and drugs. He praised police, especially when they battled the MS-13 Latino gang. He told officers not to worry about protecting suspects from injury during arrest. All along, he assumed that law enforcement was on his side. He bragged that the cops, like the plumbers and truck drivers, were the people that like me best. No, they don't. They hate your fucking guts, and they always will. But not every cop was smitten by 45 in 2017. Then FBI declared the squatter and his former national security advisor, Michael Flynn, in the Russia investigation. So 45 fired Comey because Comey wasn't loyal. In January of 2019, 45 discovered that the Bureau had launched an inquiry into the firing. Wow, just learned in the failing New York Times. Technically, the New York Times are more successful than 45 is. That the corrupt former leaders of the FBI opened up an investigation on me. The squatter tweeted, 45 needed to explain why he, the putative squatter of cops, had fired the head of the FBI, so he labeled Comey a bad cop, a crooked cop, and a dirty cop, which he wasn't. Yeah, but we know 45 was crooked and dirty. In March of 2019, Special Counsel Robert Mueller, another former FBI director, filed a report documenting 45's misconduct in the Russia investigation. 45 responded by calling every member of the investigative team a dirty person. He applied that slur to former FBI Director Andrew McCabe, former FBI agent Peter Strzok, former FBI lawyer Lisa Page, the FBI leadership people, and the Justice Department, and Miller and the gang. 45 claimed that they had forged documents, which they didn't, and used an illegal document, which they didn't, and tampered with evidence, which they didn't. He said that they had been caught in the act, which they weren't, because they didn't do anything illegal, and had been exposed as dirty people by the Justice Department's Inspector General. And of course, none of this was true. But 45's smear campaign served three objectives. First, it helped him turn the investigation of himself into an investigation of the cops. It was an illegal investigation, said 45. No, it wasn't. 45 claims, "Oh, I didn't do anything wrong." Yes, you did. You broke the law. The people that did something wrong were on the other side. No, they weren't. On Twitter, he demanded investigate the investigators, which doesn't work like that. He suggested that the dirty, filthy cops should be put in jail for treason. Yeah, 45, I agree with you on one thing. Yeah, yes, you should be in jail for treason. Second, the anti-cop narrative cast 45 as the anti-hero. In a letter to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, he called Comey one of the dirtiest cops our nation has ever seen. And 45 is one of the dirtiest squatters I've ever seen. Purging Comey and the Comey's associates, essentially anyone who had investigated 45, was one of 45 claims. Basically, purging people is one of his greatest achievements, which it really isn't, because we have no place in our country for people like that. Yeah, we have no place in our country for people like you, 45. Third, the anti-cop narrative laid a foundation for reserving the convictions of 45's henchmen of Comey and the top people in the FBI were dirty cops. 45 tweeted, "When all of these 20 cases have to be overturned or dismissed? No." When 45 was asked about pardoning Roger Stone, another advisor convicted in the Russia inquiry, he said that Stone and Flynn were victims of a hoax investigation run by dirty cops, and no, this investigation was not a hoax. 45's attacks on law enforcement culminated in a bizarre commencement address to reformed ex-convicts in February. He was supposed to talk about repentance and rehabilitation. Instead, he accused of being dirty and of railroading Stone and Flynn. Stone had been convicted of witness tampering, but the man that he was tampering didn't seem to have much of a problem with it. 45 complained to the ex-convicts, and it's not like the tampering that I see on television when you watch a movie. That's a totally different thing, you dumbass. Still, 45 was happy to praise cops who revered him and shared his resentments. In October 2019, the police union in Minneapolis, where Floyd would die at the hands of 4 officers, peddled Cops for 45 t-shirts on its websites. 45 promoted the t-shirts and thanked the police for supporting him and fighting the mayor of basically that town. On October 10th, at a nearby all-white Klan rally in Minneapolis, he declared, "Cops love 45, no they don't." More than a dozen white officers, including the head of the police union, paraded on stage to shake the squatter's hand. "You couldn't pay me enough money to shake that fat fuck's hand." Then 45 launched into his next riff. For many years, leaders in Washington brought large numbers of refugees to your state from Somalia, and the crowd booed. The past months should dispel any doubts about the racial pattern in 45 sneaking. On April 30th, he accused dirty, filthy cops of victimizing Flynn, that's not what they did. On May 8th, he accused the FBI of tampering with Flynn's interview records, which they didn't. 23rd, he castigated former Attorney General Jeff Sessions for failing to rein in the dirty cops. On May 26th, he called them dishonest slambags. Yeah, 45 knows all about being a dishonest slambag. Then Floyd's death engulfed the country, and 45 switched sides. He denounced the thugs rioting over Floyd's death, as he had previously denounced with an explicitly racial jab at Obama. The protesters at the Gray's death, he warned in the words of an infamous police chief, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts." He threatened protesters and rioters with vicious dogs, ominous weapons, and the unlimited power of our military at a White House meeting with business executives on Friday. 45 insisted that on the whole, our police have been very outstanding. There's no mystery left about the squatter's views on cops. He loves them when they're targeting minorities, but when he investigates them or his so-called friends, he calls them dirty. He's not interested in justice, order, or the rule of law. He's not even interested as a matter of principle in defending the police. He's only interested in how corrupt it can be if they help his cause.